morning. Welcome back to my home. Today we're going to look at core and back health. So this is something I can speak on personally. I've previously had back pain that lasted a while, so I can relate to those of you that have pain or have had pain in the past. Now, what we're going to look at today, I'm going to start by saying it's not appropriate for someone who's got a really new acute back injury. So if that is you, then it's probably best to seek medical advice, probably physiotherapy advice in my opinion, and these exercises are probably going to be really relevant for you down the track. The other thing I'll say is these exercises are exercises that I personally think are great for people who've had back pain in the past, wanting to build their core to prevent back pain, or going through back pain that's been around for a while, but they're not specific. So typically a program I would put together for someone who has back pain would be a little bit more specific to them and what's happening. Now, in back pain, personally I believe there's a couple of things you want to look at. The single most important thing I think is actually getting movement. Now, if you've got back pain at the moment, or you do suffer from pain on and off, my recommendation outside of doing some of these exercises would be look at trying to build in as much incidental activity into your day as possible. Walking's a great one for back health. So we're going to start today. All we need is a couple of simple bits of equipment. You can either use a TheraBand or power band if you've got one. I'm going to use this loop. If you don't have one, a Pilates ring or a belt can work just fine. So go and grab one of them if you can. We're going to start with a very simple hip flexor stretch just to open up or stretch through your hips a little bit. We've all been sitting a lot, I've spoken about it a couple of times. Even though these muscles do need strengthening, I think the increase in sitting demand for everyone at the moment means that these guys are getting pretty tight. So let's switch it back over, tuck your tailbone under if you can, make sure we're not dropped all the way forward. So up nice and tall, tuck your tailbone, you should get a bit of a stretch down through the front of your hip. And we will come back to this one at the end. Alright, hopefully we've all got a band at this point. So onto your back, loop your feet through the band. I'm going to look at a little bit of spinal mobility with pelvic tilts and glute work with the band in a bridge. So feet hip width apart, open your knees, keeping pressure on the band or the belt should be tight. From here, look to roll your pelvis towards yourself, a little pelvic tuck, and then lifting your hips up to the point where you either get pain through your back or get tightness through the front of your hips and control down. Now, we're going to look at doing at least 15 of these. The thing I want you to think about is not to be feeling pain in your back. If you're feeling pain in your back, you're probably going too high. And I definitely don't want anyone to go up to here. The focus should be driving through your heels, squeezing through your glutes or your bottom muscles. So I'm up to 5. I wouldn't expect you to be up to too many more unless we're breathing through at a rapid pace, and I would slow it down a little bit. And the focus here should be getting that little bit of a tuck as we go. You may even feel a little bit of lower abdominals or hamstrings, and I'm okay with that. Make sure the knees stay wide and that they're not dropping in. We're going to look at another 3 from now. 2 more. And last one. And dropping back down. Now we are going to do one more lot, but in the meantime, bring your knees together, bring your knees into your chest and just hug them in gently. No need to force a stretch here. We're just going to hold this for just a couple of moments. And if you feel the need, you can do a gentle rock, just a little bit of gentle mobilization through our back. Let's then bring our feet back, knees opening, feet hip width apart. From there, we're going to tuck and lift again. We're going to aim for another lot of 15 plus of these. Now, these are an activation exercise. For some of you, they will be a strengthening exercise for your glutes. Some of them there'll be more more activation. And that's where I say individualised at the start with the workouts. I do think this level would not be hard enough for some people to work hard, but it's still a really nice activation. You get a nice pelvic tilt, some lumbar mobility. So even if it is not hard enough to be a tough workout, it's still a nice one to get some movement going through your back. Now, I've spoken before, I've lost count. Physios are not great at counting, but we're going to go 5 more from now, and if we do 1 extra, that's not a bad thing. Try and keep the speed slow, keep the band wide. Don't let those knees roll in. Beautiful. Keep the tuck as you go up. I'm going to do 1 more from now. Beautiful. Controlling down, knees together, hug them into your chest. We're going to hold this for just a couple of moments. Again, gentle mobilizations if you feel good doing it. If your back's a bit sore there, definitely don't push into it. Let's peel ourselves up, jump that band off, or the belt off. And we're going to come into hands and knees. Now, I think for back pain, it should be equal parts movement and equal parts strength. It's a combination of both. We're going to look at some gentle happy cat, angry cat, or cat camel, which is some gentle arching down and then arching up. Now, some of you aren't going to like the movement in one direction too much, so don't push it into discomfort, but the goal is to go slow, controlled through the movement, and try and breathe. So big breaths in are really important here. If you're finding you're tensing your abdominals too much, stop back at the middle and really try and let your stomach relax and hang out a little bit, because this is not one where you need your abdominals to be tensed. Let's go 2 or 3 more each direction, so up and down, and continue nice and slow for me. On the last one, and then we're going to rest back in the middle. So you try and find that middle ground between the up and the down. We're now going to look at a bird dog. What we're looking at here is the opposite arm and leg extending out to straight. Now, what you want to try to imagine is that you're balancing a cup of coffee on your back and you don't want to spill it. So we don't want to see that back arching up and down as we do it. Belly button should be pulled in and you're reaching out as far as you can, keeping that lift of your stomach muscles and that neutral spine. We're going to aim to do it at least a minute here. If you need a break in between, that's more than fine. Again, try to make sure as you go, especially as you're getting tired, that you keep the belly button pulled in and we get that nice high lift through your ribs and through your tummy muscles. If you're finding you're rocking around quite a lot doing this one, try and keep your weight really centered through the heel of your hand and your knees, and don't go as far. Small ones are okay if you're finding you're really struggling with control. Otherwise, stretching out to the point where you feel like you lose that control through your trunk. Let's aim 1 more each side. Nice and long, and even ourselves up. Beautiful. And we'll walk ourselves back in to the middle. Now we're now going to look at a core exercise. We're going to come back onto your back face up. Now, for those that haven't done core exercises in this position involving, your legs up at a position we call in Pilates type exercise tabletop, there's a couple of things you want to think about. First one being you want to focus on drawing your belly button and lower abdominals in and lifting both feet up into this position. Now, if you can't control this position with your back, without your back arching, the goal for you then is to only lift one leg at a time and alternate, trying to focus on keeping your belly button in. If you can do it without pain or good control, lifting both feet up to this position. We're going to start with just a lot of 10 each leg, where you're holding belly button in, ribs down, and we're doing small taps to the ground. Now the focus here is that you keep the belly button in, we breathe as the leg is going down, and it's nice and slow. You should feel your stomach muscles, not your back muscles. If you're feeling your back, I would go back to doing the one leg lifting at a time rather than holding them both up. But if you want to try and do the two legs, really hold your ribs down, keep your belly button engaged, and make sure you're not arching your lower back off the ground too much. Now I think we've got 4 or 5 more each side, so I'm going to do 5. If we end up with 11 each leg, that's okay. If you need to stop in between, please let me know. Beautiful, let's go. 1 more from now. Beautiful. Now when you're at the top, lower one leg first, then the other leg, and relaxing. From here, you can either stay at that level or we're going to step it to the next level up. The next level up is a dead bug. Now for those that have done dead bugs before, your arms are lifting up above your head. We're going to lift back up to tabletop, and we're going opposite arm and leg reaching out. Takes a bit of coordination for those that haven't done it. If you find it's too much either on your back or your core or control-wise for your brain, stick with the taps. We're going to look at a total of 20 repetitions, so 10 each side. That's 3. That's 4. Now if you're finding it easy, I'm okay with you extending the leg out a little bit more. Otherwise, small taps is okay. Keep the belly button pulled in. No quicker than I'm going. If you're going quicker than this, you're probably not controlling it well enough, and maybe not breathing well enough with every repetition. Keep the ribs down, belly button pulled in. We're going to do 4 more taps in total. 2 more. Lowering one leg down and then the other, and our arms can lower. Then we'll peel ourselves up onto our side. Nice work so far. We're going to look at a couple more to finish up. So we're now going to look at a modified version of a side plank. The reason I like side planks for back pain is a couple of things. One, you're building lateral trunk strength and core muscles, but we're also looking at side hip muscles, and side hip muscles are a really important one, especially for back pain that's been ongoing for a while. Let's look at bending your knees underneath your body, onto your elbow, elbow underneath shoulder. From here, before you lift, push your hips all the way forward, and then we're going to lift up, nice and tall. Now we're going to do 30 seconds here. If you know already that this is too easy for you, lift the top leg up and hold. From here, what you should feel is your lower trunk and lower hip muscles working. We're halfway through. Keep the hips pushed forward, so you should think about your glutes on, pushing yourself forward and high. If you need to rest at any stage, please do. We've got 5 seconds left. And lowering down. Let's spin ourselves other way. The same again. Knees bent, push your hips all the way forward, elbow underneath shoulder, and we're going to lift up, squeezing glutes nice and high. If you know it's too easy, lift that top leg. So you should feel on the second side it's going to be tougher than that first side. You'll feel the top glute probably this time. You should feel some bottom trunk, some bottom glute, and maybe some shoulder working, which is okay. Keep the hips nice and high. We're going to do 5 more seconds from now. And relaxing down. We've got 1 more on each side. Let's spin ourselves around. Now, if you're finding this really easy, I'm going to give you a slight variation this time. So that's hips forward, up nice and high. Straighten that leg out if you're finding it really easy, and you can do little taps up and down, but you have to be able to keep the hips pushed forward and nice and high. Otherwise, feel free to stay at the variations that I've showed you in the past. Stay tall through your hips. We've got 5 seconds from now. And relaxing down. We've got 1 more to go. Spin ourselves around. Elbow under shoulder. Knees bent, hips pushed all the way forward. Lifting nice and high. Again, if you want to straighten that top leg, be my guest. Otherwise, you can stick at any of the previous levels. This will be the hardest of the lot. You'll definitely feel your side hip muscles and probably your trunk working a lot harder than you may have in the previous couple of rounds because these hip muscles are starting to get tired. See if you can push it out another 10 seconds from now with me. Otherwise, feel free to have a rest. 5 to go from now. 3, 2, and 1. Relaxing. Beautiful. From here, we're going to look to do a couple of simple stretches. Hands and knees for me. We're going to drop our hips back, resting onto your heels into a child's pose, and then creeping your hands forward. We're going to hold here for a couple of deep breaths. From there, come up halfway. Big breath in and dropping back again. And again, a couple more deep breaths for me. I'm going to come up from there. Now that's all I've got time for today. For those that want to continue on a little bit, potentially look to go back through and cycle from the top and do another 1, maybe 2 rounds through. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. Feedback is always appreciated and welcomed. This video will be available hopefully on my Instagram for the next 24 hours, but also on YouTube and my website at a later date. I'm still doing online appointments for those interested. Online classes have kicked off this week for those interested as well. And by all means, questions at any time. For those that were interested with the workout, typically when gym environments are available, I get people doing exercises such as hip thrusts, maybe versions of hip hinge or deadlift, and getting some resistance going. Home environment, that's different, and these are some ones I like that are very simple to do. Thanks for checking in. Have a great weekend.